Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Today, I'm going to be going over the changes to my list after the GT. Currently in a hotel right outside Orlando right now. Going to an RTT out here tomorrow, so this will be the list I'm taking to that. And depending on how it performs, this may be what I end up taking to Nova at the end of the month. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and just pull up this list. So some of you have seen this list already. This is what I took to the GT. It was Arjack with a 10-man Terminator, Bjorn, Logan with a 5-man, Wolf Priest running with 6 head takers and an Impulsor, Infiltrator, Scout Squad, 10-man Wolfen Squad, 3-man Thunderwolf, Predator, Annihilator, Vindicator, Impulsor. So that was the list we were running before. So let's get rid of this and go change this list. All right. So the Wolf Priest and the head takers, I was a little disappointed in. We have a little problem punching up with almost all our stuff, but Terminators are super survivable, and I found the head takers weren't. And I thought maybe going into the Priest bring a guy back would be useful, but it only happened once. Normally, once they got hit, they just all died. Thunderwolves were great. I loved the Terminators. Predator and Vindicator did okay. We'll drop the Impulsor for now because it's not needed with those guys. And they were fine. You need some shooting, but in one of my games of the GT, we played into Custodes running Canis, and I didn't realize that Canis had dropped to 380. So at that point, I really don't see how you don't take him in a lot of Imperium lists. So I know this is Gladius, not a Marine Wolf detachment, and I'm putting Canis in here. So this is, let's see if we can find Canis. So this isn't necessarily the wolfiest of wolf lists. I know, but I think this still has a lot of wolf stuff and can be competitive. So in place of the head takers, I'm actually going to take a third Terminator squad. So we'll have 2 5s and a 10. This squad will be running on its own, and the sergeant will have, drop that, he will have the, we're going to do the lightning claws. They have storm shields. Walter, Mastercrafted power weapon. It's not giving me the option to give him the storm shield, which I know he can do. So we're running him with, so we're running all the guys with power weapon storm shield. Well, let me look at something to make sure that's actually, I was just double checking that was allowed. It is, that's how it is on the GW app. I'm not sure why it's not letting me drop the Stormbolter for, oh, let's see, unclick there, no. So I don't know how on New Recruit to give him power weapon storm shield, but I submitted my list with the GW app, and it's all right on there. So it says Stormbolter here, but that'll actually be the Stormbolter. So then you got now we got the 3 Terminator squads, and I will be starting them all in reserve, probably Arjack in the 10-man and strategic, so Logan can bring them in turn 1. And that leaves us 95 points. So what I ended up deciding I wanted to do was adding in JPI squad. Just another fast little unit that can do decent combat into like little screens and stuff. It does the mortals. It's going to have 2 plasma pistols. It can throw grenade. So you can really I really, really like these guys. So we're going to give one of these guys a plasma pistol and drop one of these. Boom. All right, so this is the list now. We're at 1995. So we'll just bring up the final look of it. So Arjak and the 10-man normally are going to come in turn one, depending on what I'm fighting against, what the mission is. Either kind of stage middle to threaten objectives or drop down behind some terrain to try to tank a flank or threaten the opponent's expansion objective. Bjorn will kind of help guard our backfield, give us CP, and then push to help in the middle late game. Logan and his 5-man will probably end up rapid ingressing on my opponent's second turn. And that's just really, really gives you a lot of flexibility depending on how the game goes, where you bring them in. So they're just a reactionary piece. Then the 5-man JPIs will normally start on the table. Just jump out, score an objective, kill some screens, just do some stuff for us when we need them to. Infiltrators in most games will probably stay in our backfield, screening people out from being able to do establish locus behind enemy lines, anything like that in our backfield, just denying them secondary and scoring the backfield objective for us in missions where that matters. Scouts will normally deploy up on the table, infiltrate toward either our expansion or the middle objective. And then if we get first turn, I normally don't scout them. I normally have in a position where I don't need to. And then if we draw something like area denial or secure, we can really just score those points with only exposing the scout squad without having to put anything else in danger. And then if the scouts die, we've lost 70 points of our army to get points. And if it was second, I'll normally have them in position to 6-inch scout back behind a wall to be unchargeable and unseeable. And then normally I'll still leave them on the table so that even going second, if I draw some objectives that want me to do stuff in the middle, I can just do the scouts. Unless they make it past like turn 2, my scouts normally don't uppy downy. They just there to score middle secondaries while the rest of my army gets in position. And then once the rest of the army is in position, then I have other units to do that. Then the scouts can go up for like behinds or stuff like that. And then we already talked about the 10-man and the 5-man with Logan. The single 5-man will normally deep strike on my second turn, somewhere kind of safe to move the next turn, but with the possibility of hitting a 9-inch charge into something. I'll normally drop them where I'm not going to re-roll it. So if they don't hit the charge, it doesn't matter. Like they're still in position to do good stuff for me. But if they do, it's just like an extra bonus. Then the 10-man Wolf and the Storm Shields, if I'm playing like Knights or something like that, where Crusher Stampede, where they can really have good targets that they're going to be really, really needed, try to stage them somewhere safely where they can threaten 2 objectives with the advance and charge and their 9-inch move if they move big stuff up. If I'm fighting something more like Eldar, they're really something that I can just throw out that's kind of hard to kill, but isn't really the greatest damage dealer in those matchups. They're like not great into horde infantry, and just use them to soak up fire off more important stuff. The Thunderwolves normally start on a flank to try to get up and hold an objective. A lot of times it'll be the objective that the scouts are planning on leaving in a turn or two. And then sometimes the Thunderwolves really don't get in the game unless the opponent has a lot of screens, then they'll run up. But otherwise, they're just kind of guarding my expansion until the opponent comes to threaten it, and then they get in the game. And then Canis, he normally stages somewhere safely where he can't be shot, but where people are scared to give him shots. And then once the opponent kind of commits, he can pop out and go threaten the center or one of the sides with his shooting and combat. Because at flat 4 damage on his shooting, he is good into most vehicles. He's really good into Death Guard because their Terminators are 4 damage. And then his combat at flat 9 damage is just good into everything. You could also do a sweep if you needed to, if you're more into Horde. With a CP, free tank shock. And then this being Gladius, it just gives me lots of versatility. So I have some units that I can hide and do stuff with, and I have units that are really, really durable. So I normally, if things go well, don't lose a lot of assets early. Lose some models from these units, but they really kind of tend to stick around. So I have stuff to play the game with. I don't have a lot of pieces other than like the scouts and maybe the Thunderwolf squad and the JPIs have 3, that can be like traded and lost and not really be a big deal. The others really need to achieve something, but for them to get picked up, the opponent really needs to commit something kind of good to them. You can't just pick them up with nonsense. They're really hard to shift. So we'll see how that does tomorrow. Got some test games into it, but it's not into a lot of different stuff. 1 into Eldari and 2 into Crusher Stampede, and it performed well in those. But hopefully at the RTT, I get to play into some more varied stuff. Maybe get like a Night List or Death Guard, play into some of the more meta armies to get it tested into there. That'll make me feel a lot better about it and help me learn more about it to know if I do or don't want to take this to Nova, either with some slight tweaks, or if I like, no, this is just completely not worth it. We need to go kind of really back to the drawing board. Uh, but that's it. That's the list. I think I'm going to enjoy playing it. I will keep you guys updated on how the event does. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.